Good evening and welcome to Miss Netta's Can I Help? How are you guys doing today? I hope everyone's week has been wonderful. You've done everything you wanted to do. You've met some goals that you wanted to meet. And you are just blessed and doing as wonderful as I am today. Hey, every day we lit. Then you know you lit. Then you know you lit. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ms. Netta's Can I Help? This evening's topic is going to be on teen mothers. I was a teen mother, yes I was, and this what it's going to be on tonight. And growing up in a broken home. With that came a whole lot of tasks, and we're going to get off into it. I'm not going to hold you guys long, at least I'm going to try not to. But I definitely have some things to share with you guys about being a teen mother. Just kind of starting it off. The previous videos, I kind of ended at age 14. I'm going to back up just a little bit because this segment is going to talk about how I helped raise my little sister, how I became a teen mother at age 16. I got pregnant, and 17 I had the baby. And just kind of give you a few statistics for an understanding as to why and how different things go on in our household, and why our young teen mothers or our young mothers end up in the predicaments that we end up in. You know, everyone has their own story, but I'm going to share with you mine tonight. How about that? Yes, so tonight definitely brings up some good memories. You know, there's a lot that happened. My mom decided to have my beautiful little sister when I was around 11 years old, okay? And, you know, like in my previous videos, I kind of talked about different segments of my life, and it kind of all meshes together with everything that I've shared versus everything that we're headed towards, okay? And the reality is, I am definitely telling you guys a story, and if you follow from beginning to end, I promise you, you won't be lost, and you'll definitely understand a whole lot, okay? So, I'm going to start with, you know, when my mom had my little sister, okay? My mom was a single mother, grew up in a single, um, she grew up in a single family household for the most part with her brothers and sisters. And basically, when I came along, it really was no different. You know, she still was a single mother. Uh, she wasn't with my dad. She was with him for a little while, but not throughout. Like I said, my dad left when I was 4 years old. So from age 4 pretty much up until in my 30s, I had been without a father. That's the first part of the broken home, okay? I watched my mom go through so much trying to raise me and my brothers, and then my little sister as well. It was a lot. You know, it was a lot that she endured. It was a lot that she went through, a lot that I watched. And the reality is, growing up in a single family home kind of starts to mold how you grow up, what you do, your outlook on things, your perception of things. That's what a broken home does. It kind of shapes it. And I kind of looked at some statistics and kind of seen what was really going on in broken homes and single moms, and just kind of trying to get an understanding, because I value a whole lot about how I came up and what it molded me to be, what the choices I decided to make in life, the decisions that I had to make, some easy, some really, really tough, but I had to make them no matter what. Just it really began to shape things. So, excuse me, when I was just kind of telling you guys about some statistics first, in Broken Home, it was really designed in the traditional way. What's the traditional way, Janetta? What's that? Well, the traditional way is going to be where you have two parents in the household. You have they have a job, you complete school. This is the traditional way that it's done. Let's back that up. The traditional way, you complete school, you get a job, you get married, you have children. Just kind of in that order, right? That's the way that it's traditionally designed for it to happen, because normally it takes two to raise children. Really, it takes a village to raise kids. That's how I came up. You cut up. It ain't just one person that's going to get you. Everybody that kind of caught you cutting up going to get you, and then going to take you home, and you're going to get it there too. That's kind of the era that I grew up in. But it still didn't change that single family household. Watching mama and mama alone go through the struggle and for real do what she had to do to raise her children. Whether it's work all the time, whether it was go out and try to find that moment for herself to regroup because she was raising kids by herself, whatever it was a single family home. And when I say I watched my mama struggle, but she provided, I really mean that. In the midst of the different things that happened, true enough, things happened, and I don't push that to the side, but as an adult now, I realize that she just really did what she had to do. You know, the harsh reality is my daddy didn't make a choice to do what he had to do to help her because he was too caught up in what he had going on. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, I feel like, she did a good job. Don't you think? She did a good job, you know? And that's just what it is. But traditionally, that's how it's designed, and it's designed for a stable home with a two-parent family that they're the ones who have the best prospect for income security. When you got and two parents in the home, especially when it ain't no crazy stuff going on in the home with daddy. Daddy's on the up and up and doing what he's supposed to do. In a normal, everyday life, two-parent home, it kind of shapes what your children are going to get out there and do and be. You have that rarity of the ones, no matter what they got, with it being fed with a silver spoon, they still gonna get out there and do X, Y, Z, and W. But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about your normal, everyday, upright citizen family household. That's what I'm talking about. That's how it's designed. But when you get to the broken home, when you get to the unstableness, when you get to the mother trying to do it by herself, or sometimes the father trying to do it himself, you're going to run into errors. You're going to run into a lot of errors, because raising children is just not easy. You understand what I'm saying? More than 3 in 10 children grow up in broken homes. 3 out of 10 grow up in broken homes. That accounts for 70% of juvenile detention. That accounts for 57% prison inmates. This is in the single family home. 63% teen suicide. 71% teen pregnancy. 90% homeless, juveniles, and runaways. 71% high school dropouts. 75% drug users. 85% behavior disorders. 73% of that is men, 63% of that is women. And they're usually sexually active before the age 18. Funny how it just all goes in line, right? So that's kind of what you have to look forward to when you're talking about your teen girls that make the decision to have a baby. Okay? So at 11, when I was 11, my mom had my little sister. I love that girl so much. You understand? I felt like my mom had someone for me to be with, to relate to be able to be there for and help and give what I didn't receive growing up as a child, if that makes sense. Oh, I love that little girl so much. I was going to do everything I could to make sure she was okay. So, a little bit of a joke is when she was born, and mama kind of left me and a family friend to see after my little sister while they went and did something. I don't even remember what that was, but we were left to keep her, right? And she was crying, and we was eating pizza and red pop, and I really felt like she wanted some because she was just whining and squirming and doing what little babies do, you know. And I felt like she wanted some of that pizza and pop, so I was gonna make sure she got some because I ain't want her to be out hungry and crying and stuff. So I gave it to her, and she was fine for the moment. Oh, but my mama caught the blues later on when she got there because she wasn't old enough to be eating it, but I was giving it to her because it seemed like that's what she wanted. I was gonna make sure she was good. But anyone that knows, when my little sister came around, you saw me, you saw my little sister. True enough, she was that bald head little girl all the time, but I loved her. I loved her to death. And honestly, even though I was happy mama had her, you as a child growing up, you never really realized that the younger ones are watching everything you do. They're watching every step you make, every decision you make. They're right there and they're watching, right? So my little sister, she's always loved food. She's always loved to eat, and I can remember when she first started walking. It was a grape popsicle that made her take them steps. And she still loved to eat, still loved to. She was pregnant, she would just cry, you know. She couldn't get what she wanted, she was always, that was my little sister. And now that she's grown up, it's really a feeling of joy. At first, it was a lot of concern because I saw her making so many mistakes and going through so many different things, and she was always loud, and people didn't really understand her, but I understood her. And she's really smart, very smart, but she's a fully grown woman now. Um, I love her to death, but as I got older, I realized, how much she had watched me, and she watched me make so many mistakes. And some of those mistakes she began to make too because she had watched. I was setting the tone and didn't even realize it. And for that, I apologize for all the things that you tried that maybe you shouldn't have tried, or the things that you tried that wasn't necessarily ideal. I apologize because a lot of those things that you did try and you did do, you watched me do first. And for that, I do apologize for that because I was your overseer for the most part. And I kind of left her behind when I had my first child. I had my first child at 17. I was 16 when I got pregnant, and I was 17 when I had him. And um, for the most part, for me, having a child was to for real fill that void, to have something, someone that was mine and mine alone and was going to love me regardless, and crazily felt like I would get that love that I did not get from no one else all my life from my child. And, you know, there was so much that I didn't learn growing up that normally you're supposed to learn or be taught or is instilled in you. But, you know, my mama worked a lot. And when she didn't work, she, before she was saved, it was she would go out and do what she needed to do as far as, I guess for me, it was being okay. Um, from the stress and the pressure of having children, and just everyday life. Because, I mean, even now I have to do it, so I understand it more now. But she had to go out and for real do what she needed to do. And then once she became saved, she was going to church a whole lot. And at that time, I didn't understand it. I grasped a lot of what I needed to grasp as far as learning about God and knowing who to reach out to and who to turn to in the time of trouble. I learned that, but it was a lot of, for real, just it was for real, just, mama had to do what she had to do. So my little sister was with me a lot. And like I said, having a child myself, it made me, I needed that. But that too was stripped from me when I had him, because his grandparents, it was their first grandchild. And, you know, I was taught to respect my elders. So she wanted him. I had to let him go for the most part. And that's just what it was, But between 11 and 16, there was so much that happened, because at 14, it was the suicide attempt. Uh, I've always had a really open heart, a really joyful heart, in spite of the things that were done to me. I always thought everybody was my friend, that everybody had my back, that everybody was going to look out for me, when in fact that wasn't it at all. But I did have a few friends. I was fortunate enough to gain here and there throughout those times people that really did look out for me. Some homegirls, some boyfriends, if you will, at that time, but nothing that ever really lasted. Now later on in life, yes, they're all still, they're good friends. They're still reliable if needed, but it was a real, for real, growing pain, and learning yourself, or trying to learn yourself and what you needed between 11 and 17, 16, 17. Because 16 is when I got pregnant, 17 is when I had my son. But let's just be real about it. When I got pregnant, it definitely was intentional. Not so much to keep the dude. It was certainly a good thing if I could, if we did make it, but it was more so to have someone that loved me no matter what my mistakes was and what my flaws was. Um, I made a lot of mistakes raising my little sister. That was the first learning experience of caring for someone outside of yourself, was my little sister. And I did the best that I could up until I had a child. And even after I had a child, didn't realize she was yet watching me, but I wasn't seeing that at the time. But I just thank God that she turned out as wonderful as she did. But my oldest son, phenomenal. Phenomenal. My firstborn, phenomenal. He is definitely a young man that I am so very proud of. And I thank God for him. I thank God for giving me him because he set the tone of love in my heart. That is truly my very first love, my very firstborn son. That was when I learned love unconditional with my very first son. It wasn't easy being a teen mother. I won't pretend like it was, even with having it easy, because the grandparents always wanted him. He was the firstborn grandchild for them. So that was always, it was an easy situation, yet at the same time it was very difficult because I would have liked to have spent more time. I would have liked to have been there more for my child. But out of respect and not wanting to argue, and for real, just knowing that no matter what, my child would be okay, I just kind of let it play out, let it be what it was going to be at the time. Then, and like I said, I had him at 17. And then at 19, I had my daughter. And it wasn't always so easy with my daughter, yet it was kind of like she began to fall along the lines as my first child because now she's the first girl. So there was a lot. There was a lot of good days. There was a lot of bad days with the grandparents, with the father. There was a lot. Being a teen mother, and really for real not knowing how to explain a lot about how I felt without being disrespectful because I was a hothead at that time. So I chose the silent treatment most of the time. I broke and ran. I would leave. I would, for real, just because I didn't want to be disrespectful to my elders. I didn't want to be disrespectful out of respect that it was my baby's father's parents and elders. So I had to, for real, keep a tone. But within that teen time and in the brokenness that I grew up in, and it's far more detailed than I'm actually laying out, but in that brokenness, I found between that time frame, I found my first love. I found out how to love from having my child. That's the angle I learned love from. Around in that era, I was really clingy to guys because I was searching for something even after having a child. I mean, it was just so much that the past, for real, was affecting in the right then, the right now of then. It was so much. And I was desiring and looking for something that really wasn't in any of that. It was in God. It was God that I needed desperately. But like I said, I was young then, so I didn't know to talk to God. I didn't know to, for real, give it all to Him. I didn't know any of that. I was watching my mom, but it was so many mixed emotions still within that era of my life that I knew, but it's like looking at it right there, and I felt as if my mom was just too holy to even talk to, and that's just being honest. I thought she was just too holy to talk to. So I kept a lot. I kept a lot. I had a few people here and there that, for real, I guess you can say, was a voice, was a listening ear. After having my first son, it was it was a relief. But I was the type of person that when I had my first child, because I had watched my mom struggle for so long and go through so much, I was determined that because I was a teen mom now, that I was not going to make her have to be a part of it in any shape, form, or fashion unless she wanted to. I remember when I told my mom I was pregnant for the first time. I was yet at the clinic, had just found out, and she was at work, and I called her, and I told her. And she said, her words to me was, "What you telling me for? That's your problem," and hung up in my face. But she didn't turn her back on me. And when I had my first son, I knew that she would do all that she could to make sure I was okay and he was okay. And I didn't want her to do that because she had already gone through so much raising me and my brothers. So I didn't want her to have to endure taking care of me and mine. So I made the decision at 17, a few months after I had my son, that it was time for me to move out on my own. And me and my sister got our first apartment before I moved in my own apartment. And I've pretty much been on my own ever since. It's been bumps in the road, but God. It's been some learning experiences, but God. But my mom, the best, one of the, like I said, she gave me a really good gift, which was God. But the other one was independence. That's a blessing and a curse because I'm so independent. It's hard to ask for help when it's needed. It's hard to reach out to anyone when I know for a fact that I definitely may hear or there need their help. Growing up in a broken home, it handicapped me to learning a lot. Not really trying to put it out there, but my mom, she didn't graduate. So she didn't know a lot to tell me. She didn't know a lot to teach me. I didn't learn about finance when I was younger. I didn't learn how important credit was when I was younger. I didn't learn um, the ultimate morals and values about being out on your own. She taught me how to cook. I learned how to clean. I learned how to be a lady, be seen and not heard. But those things that I guess you can say make you successful were not even successful because success is really not a thing. It's something that you achieve that you've always wanted to achieve, and it's not necessarily materialistic. So not success, but how to prepare for the future, if you will. I didn't get that. I didn't learn that on the front end. I learned it on the back end. So it was a lot, but helping raise my little sister set the tone, and watching the struggle with my mom set the tone, and my father being absent set the tone. Some good, some bad. Hmm. My first love taught me a lot, a whole lot, um, because I met him when I was still young, that 18-year-old span. And he was patient. He was humble. He had been through a lot himself, but he understood, and he understood me. But that wasn't a situation that could be because, or that I thought should be, because I had a baby daddy, you know? And the right way is to, like the traditional, two-parent household, raising a child and getting married and kind of living happily ever after. So I thought. So that was that. And I had a few friends that I for real watched in that era that had mother and father at home that kind of taught me a lot. Didn't realize it was because they had mother and father at home that's why they were like they were, but it all was a lesson. But my little sister, that's my daughter, as well as my little sister, because I helped mama with her majorly. My firstborn, I'm proud of him. And we grew together, if you will. He was my first lesson and teacher. But that era, it was definitely a rocky one. Like I said, I've left a lot out because that would take a lot longer. But I just wanted to share with you guys as far as being a single mom and how difficult it was and what it took for me to, for real, learn how to be a mother, because there's no book or guide or reference as to how to be a mother. You just got to love beyond yourself. And like I said, by watching my mom struggle and try to survive, it instilled that in me. So if I knew nothing else, I knew how to survive. I learned to love based off of how I always wanted to feel. And having my first child and then having my daughter. So that was the beginning of learning how to love and survive all at the same time. That was the beginning of, for real, being a being, feeling like something, yet struggling with your demons of depression and heartache and pain and molestation and rape and being used and abused and it was it took a lot. It took a lot as a teen mom and learning. And because I was so independent, I rarely reached out to my mom or anyone for help. I basically tried to do it on my own and tried to figure it out and tried to teach myself by watching and picking up on things was how I did it. But that value that you're supposed to have to make your life a better life when you get older, I didn't have that. I had to learn that. So I thank God that I am where I am today. I am as successful as I am today. I have overcome the things that I have overcome, and you can overcome them too. And don't become a mother until you're ready, my young people. Don't. What's up, baby? What's up? What's up?
Y'all go follow my YouTube channel.
I can't take him. Did you?
Did.
That's my baby boy. I ain't got there yet. Y'all will learn about him really soon. But I haven't got there yet. That's my TJ. But seriously, you guys, I have a lot more to share. I just wanted to share with you about raising my little sister and learning to be a mother myself at an early age and what it took and how successful it has made me today from the beginning of that pain until now. And like I told you guys, I am going to, for real, do what I can to help anyone out there that feels that they may be alone and being a teen mother or father, for that matter. I'm here to help. That's what Miss Netta is here to do, help in any shape, form, or fashion. Any advice I can give, any recommendations I can give, anything I can do to help your situation be just a little bit lighter. That's what I want to do. Like I tell you guys in every single video, the best of my life is the rest of my life, and the past of my life I'll always share with you guys. So stay tuned to the next video. Until we speak again, you guys have a wonderful evening, and try your best to avoid being a teen mother. Have a great night, you guys. Bye.